In June of 2023, NASA will launch the first-of-its-kind mission to a never-before-explored area of space, the Trojan asteroids near Jupiter. These space rocks are leftovers from the formation of the solar system, and some scientists believe they may contain organic compounds that could have been the building blocks of life here on Earth. But all the buzz about these particular asteroids is not just because of what they might teach us about our beginnings. It's also because one of them, named 2010 HC218, has an extremely rare composition that is surprisingly familiar to us. See, 2010 HC218 is a carbonaceous chondrite, a type of asteroid that is rich in carbon and other elements like oxygen, nitrogen, and hydrogen. And that combination of ingredients could mean this asteroid was once home to something very much like life as we know it. It would be pretty amazing if this turned out to be true, because it means there's likely a ton of this stuff floating around out there in space. So maybe, just maybe, we could bring some of it back to Earth for further study. But beyond helping us learn about how life began, carbonaceous chondrites may also have another use. Let's say our planet had been wiped out by the asteroid that killed off the dinosaurs. Now let's say that asteroid missed. Let's say it sailed harmlessly past Earth and left the dinosaurs to rule the land for a few more million years. What if humans still evolved, but instead of being the dominant species, we were forced into hiding by our colossal cousins? In this alternate history, could we have survived in secret and eventually come out on top when the dinos finally went extinct? Or would we have simply been wiped out again, this time by us? Welcome to my channel. Today, we're answering the extraordinary. Could humans coexist with dinosaurs, or would we wipe them out entirely? There's no question that we share a common ancestor with the dinosaurs. We're both archosaurs, which means we branched off from the same evolutionary tree at some point way back in the past. But exactly where we split off and how long ago is actually up for debate. Scientists think the split may have happened as early as the Triassic period, when the first dinosaurs appeared. If that's the case, we only have a 200 million year head start on them. But if the split came after the Jurassic, then we've got 100 million years on them. So that's a big if. Assuming we did evolve during the reign of the dinosaurs, though, how would we even go about doing that without being noticed? Well, for a little perspective, consider how well modern humans have managed to hide their presence from the giant squid. We haven't. If we were still around when the asteroid hit, we would have had roughly 66 million years to figure out how to survive a mass extinction event. And if we made it through that, we would have had an additional 66 million years to get our act together after that. Assuming we lived that long, we definitely would have figured out how to hide from dinosaurs. We're pretty good at that now, right? Of course, we probably wouldn't have been able to achieve much in terms of technological advancement while living in the shadows. But given enough time, we would have eventually reached the top of the food chain. Or maybe we would have just gotten bored. After ruling the roost for millions of years, we may have set our sights on becoming a multiplanetary species. Space colonization would have been the ultimate way to stick it to those stuck in the past dinos. And there's proof that they would have totally sucked at intergalactic domination. Despite their size, dinosaurs were actually not particularly well suited to space travel. For starters, they would need a pressurized spacesuit to survive in the vacuum of space. And while some dinosaurs like Ankylosaurus had natural armor, no saurian skin is going to hold up against the micrometeorites that whiz through our atmosphere every day. Plus, dinosaurs were mostly too heavy for rocketry. Even the smallest dino weighed over 100 pounds, and most were closer to 10 tons. The average astronaut weighs less than 200 pounds, which is why space agencies spend so much time and money trying to reduce the overall weight of spacecraft. So yeah, it'd be tough for our larger cousins to join us up here. Not to mention, they're probably too dumb. Okay, I should say that it is scientifically inaccurate to claim that dinosaurs were stupid. Their brains were actually quite large compared to their body size, and the largest of the bunch, Argentinosaurus, had an exceptionally big brain. It was basically a real-life brainiac. But most dinosaurs were smaller and simple-minded, especially relative to humans who boast some of the largest brains in the animal kingdom. Our superior intelligence would have helped us develop the technology necessary to survive in space and carry on our bloodline among the stars. Dinosaurs wouldn't have stood a chance. There's one major obstacle to our spacefaring plans, though: the fact that we don't actually exist yet. So let's just say that humans and dinosaurs did coexist for a while after the asteroid missed. How would our two species affect each other throughout history? The idea that humans and dinosaurs would have lived side by side until the asteroid strike was proposed by American paleontologist Peter May in a 1980 paper. He speculated that life on Earth would have continued on in this way for several million more years. Maybe we would have continued evolving alongside the dinosaurs and eventually become some kind of superhuman species capable of dominating the planet. Or maybe we would have remained a primitive species living in fear of the super predators that roamed the land. The outcome would have depended largely on how quickly we evolved, which is really anyone's guess. While the asteroid didn't completely wipe us out, it did cause a mass extinction that allowed mammals like our ancestors to thrive. So our best chance of survival in a dino-filled world would have been to stay small, like really small. According to Smithsonian Magazine, most mammals that were around during the age of the dinosaurs were about the size of a modern mouse. So we would have needed to stay that small for a very long time, possibly until the dinosaurs went extinct. There's just one problem with that plan. Being small isn't in our nature. Humans have a tendency to grow bigger and stronger, which is part of the reason why we've been so successful as a species. But if we did live alongside dinosaurs, it looks like our evolution would have taken a different path. We would have had to keep our bodies petite to avoid attracting the attention of hungry predators. But that meant our brains wouldn't have had room to grow either. A smaller brain would have limited our intelligence, meaning we wouldn't have developed the tools and technologies we rely on today. So we may have been forced to live in the shadows for millions of years, but it wouldn't have been a fun or easy life. That's why some scientists think that if humans and dinosaurs had coexisted, we would have eventually found a way to fight back. Even without thumbs or opposable thumbs, we've managed to build some impressive weapons. In fact, a recent study suggests that humans and dinosaurs may have engaged in a prehistoric arms race. Okay, this theory is based on the discovery of hundreds of thousands of fossilized dinosaur bones found in North and South America. All the bones show clear signs of having been deliberately smashed, and researchers say that must have been done with some sort of tool. But the kicker is that the bones were found in locations all across the continent, suggesting that this destruction wasn't caused by a single group of people, but rather by humans acting independently all across the globe. Of course, this doesn't prove that humans and dinosaurs ever coexisted. Those bones could have been smashed by humans from different prehistoric migrations, but it does raise the possibility that humans were living much further back in history than we ever imagined. Maybe we did share the planet with the dinosaurs for a while, and we learned to fight back against their reign of terror. Maybe we did evolve some sort of prehistoric Batman and Robin dynamic, where Bruce Wayne dresses up as a bat to take down criminals. Actually, forget that last part. I'm sure you can think of a better duo than me and my imaginary friend. Just comment below who you'd pick and why, and be sure to include what your team name would be. Thanks for watching Parallelish, where imagination bends reality. I'm Nova, your guide through the unknown. Want to explore more timelines? Tap the playlist above and keep diving into the what-ifs. Until next time, stay curious.